It's a bit late today, but what can I freaking tell you? Ladies and gerbils, the progress bar thingy is doing it, so let me mute myself and D, do that thing that you do.
What's going on, everybody? This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to get out of here. That means you in the back. I see you. Back to you, Creamy.
Thank you very much, D.
Yeah, man.
The chat is still taking forever on this one, but I'm private. No, it is supposedly telling me it's private. God, YouTube is really annoying. Anyway, ladies and geraniums, hit the upvote button like I'm doing right now. I don't know, it does something, so we'll just pretend that it does something. But make sure that you're subscribed. That would be super helpful. I see we actually have a couple new subscribers, so thank you very much and welcome, folks. Tell your friends, tell your weed family. I don't know, tell your bud tender, whoever would enjoy
Your
watching
Habibi.
or enjoying this show. Your weed habibi. That's exactly right.
Your Habibi, yeah.
Your weed BB. Anyway, ladies and germs, how am I gonna get this fucking chat working? Oh, I can just refresh the thingy. Ladies and geraniums, in a second when I get the chat working, I'm going to post the link, and you guys are more than welcome to hit the link and come join us. Once again, of course, don't be a dick, don't show your dick, don't be a shit, don't bring shit, don't start shit, stuff like that. What's the other one? Just don't be a douchebag, pretty much. Should be self-explanatory, but some people really need to be taught in this life. So, hey, for those that need to be taught, just don't be a douchebag. That would make your life a lot easier, I guarantee it. All those times that you get kicked out of fucking gas stations and grocery stores and whatever else, just don't be a douchebag. You will be a lot better off. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm not getting kicked out of places. I've known people like that get constantly kicked out of places. They're like, I don't know what's wrong. You know. Anyway, ladies and geraniums, let me hand it off to D here while I do the refresh chat thingy majigger, and then we can move on with the show. Cheers, D.
What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's having a great day. Welcome to my brain fart. Thank you for tuning into the safety meeting. I'm, of course, your zombie, D. Anyways, you can find me on Instagram at D_zombie_. Also, I do pre-shows, so like, subscribe,
You
hit the
keep
bell.
saying
Just
doo
like
doo. Every single show you say doo doo. It's pretty funny.
you do.
It's
Maybe it's a Canadian thing, eh?
all right. You
But
do you. You do you.
you. Check me out on zombie_745 on YouTube. Cheers, everybody. I'm smoking two different things. I'll get back to you after I finish this laughing fit.
Nice.
Good
Cheers, D. Good to see you. Let me
video.
post that linky poo that I was talking about so sweetly. Here it is right here. Come join us if I could actually hit the thingy. There we go. Boom.
What she said.
A few people in the chat here that we can say hello to. There we go. First, let's pin this motherfucker. Boom. Bud Kilowatt looks to be first in the chat with a green light. Good to see you, Bud. Surprised lately that he's first in the chat pretty often. KNC's right behind him. Good to see you, KNC. J5's right behind him as well,
Or
doing
25.
gold medal or bronze medal and the lightning bolt as well. Saying hello to Bud. Good to see you, J5.
25.
What was I going to say? Not a whole lot, honestly. Not huge amounts of reports or something. Um, oh, there was an interesting story earlier. Do I have it on my freaking goddamn Reddit? Is so annoying. I wonder if I'll be able to find it on my desktop Reddit yet. Uh, for such a big money play, you'd think they'd have a little bit better investment in their back end. Kind of like your mama. Your mama has a pretty good back end. I don't know how, but I somehow was watching. Oh, here it is. Somehow was watching. I found myself watching it for 30 seconds, and I don't know why. I think it was on Reddit, and I clicked on it, and I'm like, after 30 seconds, I'm like, why am I watching this? But anyway, it was fascinating anyway, because now I can
I've
tell
done
the
that.
story. It was some woman talking about how, gosh, not even an older woman. So this apparently happens quickly. She was probably fucking not even 35. I would say probably closer to 30. Was talking about how she had some regrets about her Brazilian butt lift. And this was all new information to me that apparently the parts of your body that they take the fat away from can grow the fat. No, wait, can grow the fat faster or slower. Now I forget, honestly. There was a difference and it was surprising. um, But she was saying that you have to maintain your butt. So if you get a if you get a Brazilian butt lift, you have to maintain your butt. Otherwise, it starts to expand in all directions, kind of like a mushroom top. So basically, you can have
Uh,
like a mushroom top, but not like in the back that people would expect. They'd be like, "Oh my God, it's a huge booty or something." But no, it'd be like over the sides too. So your hips would be like a mushroom. So that sounds terrible, honestly. That sounds really pretty bad. What else? I can't remember the rest, but it was very new
that's crazy.
to
That's
me.
crazy. That's crazy, man.
I know, right? Seriously, the consequences of Brazilian butt lifts, you would never have thought. All right, here we
Yeah.
go. Oh, that's way too big. God damn it, still too big. Oh wait, I didn't actually click on the story. Never mind. That's why it's not making sense. The story
None.
was daily cannabis use now outpaces daily alcohol use in the United States, according to the results of a study
Right.
incorporating data going back to 1979. Now, granted, this is from cannabisindustry.data.com, so and also they don't actually say who it is. So we'll take this with a grain of salt, but it's an interesting story. So we'll just throw it there. Portion of the screen. Boom. Cannabis industry. Come on, this is fucking ridiculous. There we go. Cannabis industry data. They actually picked a halfway decent picture of cannabis and a couple of joints. This the garbage
Tough
that we saw the
movie.
other day from that one story. I can't even remember what the
Yeah.
story was. Um, so this is from May 22nd, literally today, from Cannabis Data and Geographical Data. So they, like I said, they don't actually say who wrote it. So that's an interesting one. But granted, The Economist, a few places don't say the name of the people. This could just be an editorial. We'll see. The cannabis consumer base in the United States is starting to outpace the alcohol consumer base, at least when it comes to daily use, according to freshly published results of an analysis involving several decades of usage data. Daily cannabis use outpaced daily alcohol use in the U.S. in 2022. Research effort led by Jonathan Calkins, Stever University Professor of Operations Research and Public Policy, Carnegie Mellon University's Heinz College. Oh, I just read that very badly. Whatever, we're just going to move on. Examined self-reported consumer data going back to 1979. The national surveys had a total of 1,641,041 participants. I love others. 41,041 participants across 20 of the scientists was like, we're stopping right here. We're not getting 42. Fuck this shit. We got enough data. Across 27 surveys from 1979 to 22, the study's author stated the rates of use reported to the U.S. National Survey on Drug Use and Health and its predecessors are described as are trends in days of use reported. 4 milepost years are contrasted. 1979, the first available data and end of relatively liberal policies of the 1970s. 1992, end of 12 years of conservative Reagan-Bush era policies. 2008, last year before the Justice Department signaled explicit federal non-interference with state-level legalizations, and to 2022, the most recent data available, the author stated about the study's measurements. In Gallup's annual cannabis legalization poll, which was conducted every year going back to 1969, support for cannabis legalization in the United States was at a mere 25%. That number increased to 70% in Gallup's latest poll, according to November 23.
Maybe AI wrote it with his own name.
It's not very well written. Yeah, I think it is actually written by a person, but it's not super well written, honestly. Anyway, we don't have to go through every single freaking fact here. Oh, there actually is some interesting stuff here. Whitney Economics also projects the following legal cannabis sales figures in the United States for the coming years. Granted, these are projections. In 2024, 31.4 billion or a 9.1% growth from 2023, 35 billion the next year, 12% growth from 2024. In 2023, they expected to be all the way up to 67 billion, and in 2035, 87 billion dollars. Goodness gracious. The emerging legal cannabis industry in the United States is projected to add roughly $112 billion to the nation's economy in 2024, according to a newly released analysis by MG Biz Daily. That actually almost makes me feel good because I was really disconcerted about the fact that Elon Musk could just basically decide one day to buy all of cannabis or something. Like it doesn't have to be him. It could be some other fucking weird billionaire. But the dude just randomly bought Twitter, right? Like just kind of was forced to do it. He was just like a joke. And then people were like, oh, you're going to actually get in lots of trouble if you don't actually go through with this because you've made the same kind of joke in the past. So he actually had to buy like a $40 billion company. I mean, he overpaid and stuff. But at the time, cannabis industry, I remember hearing was like up to 20 billion tops. So I was like, fuck, some dipshit billionaire could literally just walk in and take all of it and just tell us all to go fuck ourselves. I don't know.
Yep. How
Sometimes,
much you want? I'll write you a check right now. Whatever you want.
yes, man, shit.
Get out.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, folks, hop on. The whole point of this show is conversation discussion. This is not a place for me to feed my narcissism or something. It was supposed to be, honestly, a show for, frankly, you guys to come and discuss. So come join us. Not all that much of the show left, so don't freaking dawdle. If nobody hops on in the next, I don't know, 10 minutes, we'll probably just call it. What was I gonna say? That was about it. That was the only story that I really had. There hasn't been that many. Although to be honest, I've been meaning to I probably am still subscribed to the Weed Weed Week. Fuck, I can't even remember the names anymore. God damn it. Anyway, the there's a few different weed news sources you can basically subscribe to, but I've been ignoring that, I have to be honest.
Hmm. What's everybody smoking on in chat? That's the big question.
Hopefully some ganja.
I have uh, that cheese one again. And they have it written on the bag. I know about the smell this time. Oh yeah, I got Tokyo OG, and I can't think of the damn name of it right now. But it was the one you all told me to get. And I went and got it.
Just
It's all
thinking of Paul Atreides in Dune saying, "I know you by your footsteps, old man." And instead of saying that, he says, "I know you by your smells, old man."
exactly. Well, that's an echo. There we go. Cheers, Jason Line. Everybody in chat. Hop on.
Hippie haze. Sounds good.
We're supposed to be getting some possible thunderstorms today.
Hmm.
Really crazy thunderstorms. But I
Cloudy
don't know.
today. It was all warm and sunny last week, and this week it's actually somewhat chilly and cloudy. A little bit annoying because I've got some tomato seedlings outside, and they're not digging this weather.
Shit.
We honestly need to plant them in the ground, but it's been no, it's been like pouring rain and stuff. Well, I was out of town too, but still, gotta get those little guys in the ground. I've got a couple of fuck. I think I only have one ghost pepper. I have the worst luck with the hot pepper seeds. Honestly, I bought fresh seeds. Didn't buy them online, but I've had bad luck online too, actually. Um, but I bought them at well, I have them here somewhere. Anyway, a reputable brand. I think I have radish seeds. I think I got them from well, I got them from a couple different brands. The Botanic Compass that I've had pretty good luck with. Show, yeah. Um, I had no problems really with tomatoes and other stuff, and they had some lovely hot pepper varieties. Uh,
Nice.
I think actually their early jalapenos were the ones that I didn't have a problem with, but ghost peppers, habaneros, what else? A couple different other Asian peppers I tried to plant, something else, and hardly any of them germed. Like basically almost none of them, or they would germ and then just die off almost immediately. Just complete waste of money, honestly, waste of time. So infuriating. Uh, so
That
yeah, I don't know
sucks.
if I'm gonna go pop more seeds of those and just have more failure, or just end up going buying some seedlings. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, I love hot peppers. Hot food's awesome.
Yeah, I would really love to pop some hot peppers this or to grow some hot peppers this year finally. It's been a
Do
few years.
you do you ever eat samosas?
Some like Indian samosas.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's been a
they're
while since I've had one though. Like, now that I think about it.
they're
Uh,
freaking good.
oh, I love them. They're
I
not that good for you. It's basically just a bag of oil and potatoes and stuff. People always think, oh, it's vegetarian. It's good for you. Not so much. But they're delicious. Yeah, it's with some mint chutney or something. Fuck yeah.
I
Um,
my Indian neighbors across the street, total Indian people, they when it was the end of Ramadan, they brought over a plate for me. I guess that's what they do too. It's a thing. They bring plates to your neighbors. So it's like,
I think, speaking of that, it's always a surprising thing. It was surprising when I looked it up. The most populous Muslim country in the world is not Bangladesh or Pakistan.
Canada.
Saudi Arabia or Mali or somewhere that you might think, Egypt, right? A lot of those places are pretty populated. No, it's actually India by kind of a lot, honestly. Pakistan has a lot, obviously a lot of Muslims, but they have less people than India has Muslims. It's actually
Yeah.
stunning, to be perfectly honest. When you think about the weird animosity between the two countries, the fact that they've been at war with each other, like literally basically nonstop, but they've actually been at war like 6 times with each other. They have nuclear weapons pointed at each other. It's considered by far the most likely nuclear exchange in the world. Everyone's all scared of Putin and everything else, but actually we have like treaties between the two of us, whereas the freaking Indians and the Pakistanis, they're weapons
Oh.
much all the time, it seems like. Anyway, nobody wants to hop on, huh? Not a single soul. I'll give it a few more minutes before we bounce.
Yeah.
These live shows, I don't know, they don't do well anymore. It's something else. And people seem to want to watch them, but nobody ever wants to hop on. It's a very bizarre thing. I'm not really sure what it is. Um, I guess, years ago during COVID, everyone was stuck at home, but it doesn't explain it, You get everybody hopping on Twitch and everything else. I don't know, maybe it's just YouTube. I don't understand it. Anyway,
I don't know. The one guy I watch, Scammer Revolts, whenever he does his live thing, like he gets thousands.
maybe it's just the content. Maybe we're just freaking
Yeah.
in the wrong place. Yeah. And honestly, there
Maybe.
are some weed channels that do super, super well. So just need to stop doing this, I guess. I don't know. It feels like pulling teeth sometimes. Most of the time, actually, these days. Seriously. But Kilowatt says I definitely don't like fake TNA. Well, then you don't like the Kardashians. I think it's
Mhm.
safe to say they're pretty much all Brazilian butt lifted to. They've got a ski lift named after them. That's how butt lifted they are. It's not that funny. Their plastic surgeon had his favorite ski lift named after them. Maybe that's kind of more funny.
Hmm. Cheers, Midwest.
So many vacations that I don't even know. Let's give it up. Cheers, Jason Online. Cheers, Midwest Outlaws in the house. What's going on, buddy? Oh, J5 smoking pineapple Cindy.
Yeah, I saw that. That sounds pretty darn good.
Good stuff.
I'm trying to figure out I'm still trying to figure out what I'm smoking on. Um, I can figure it out. Cheers, Midwest. I see everybody in chat, by the way. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, by the way, here's a. Oh, hang on. Thank you. Here's the thing. I don't know if it happens in Costco or anywhere in the States, but here in Canada, they're having a big recall right now on Frito-Lay chips
Hmm.
and stuff because of salmonella. So everybody keep your eye out for Frito-Lay products right now.
I remember the last time I smoked, or not smoked. Don't remember the last time I smoked any Frito-Lay, that's for sure, but I don't remember the last time I
Oh,
ate any Frito-Lay either.
that there's an upcoming strain name right there.
Smoking the
Frito-Lay.
Frito-Lay.
It's a cheese strain. Something. There we go. Speaking of cheese strain, I am smoking. Oh, Dairy Queen. That's right.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Dairy Queen. It's awesome.
All
Dairy
those
Queen
names are just asking
Tokyo.
for trouble.
Ow.
Because the reality is that those companies, when you have a copyright, when you have a trademark, rather, you are required to defend the trademark. So basically, people say, "Oh, Gorilla Glue was such douchebags to go after Josie Wales." I don't know. Maybe they were douchebags. I have no idea, honestly. But they were required to go after the name. Otherwise, the name would basically fall into the common domain. And that would potentially lose them a lot of money because, for example, other glue companies could have the same name. And people are like, wait, which Gorilla Glue is this? Is this the good Gorilla Glue or the shitty Gorilla Glue? And you'd never know because the fucking names are not trademarked anymore.
No name brand.
You could even sell in Home Depot or somebody would probably totally take advantage of this. You like to think like, oh no, they would go with their supplier. No, they really wouldn't. They would basically go with wherever the money is, and they would have one shelf of the good Gorilla Glue, and then they would have one shelf of the super Chinese Gorilla Glue, but marked like price marked almost the same, and a bunch of their customers would way overpay on the Chinese stuff, or wherever the cheapest glue you could possibly find is. Um, Such an interesting story to me. I don't know if anybody has followed or paid attention to the whole sriracha story with Hoi Fong Foods.
No,
Anyways, I have a bottle of Underwood sriracha finally. I got it down in California, and it's just I marvel at how bizarre this whole situation is, but it's played itself, the same situation has basically played itself over. I don't even know how many fucking times throughout human history. Basically, the owner, I can't remember the guy's name right now, but the owner of Hoi Fong Foods, his name is not Hoi Fong. Anyway, whatever the fuck his name is, doesn't really
Holy
matter.
cow.
Call him Bill.
Holy cow.
Bill, the hot sauce guy, is an immigrant from Vietnam. Didn't invent this sauce, just basically remembered this sauce from having grown up in Vietnam and eating it for breakfast, basically with his pho every day. It's weird for us Americans that people in Vietnam or Vietnamese people traditionally eat that shit for breakfast instead of like, lunch or dinner. We're like, wait, what, for breakfast? It's somehow the world doesn't make any sense anymore. It's kind of
Yeah, like
amusing. But anyway,
breakfast.
still, like I too, I don't know if I would eat a hot soup for breakfast, right? I eat hot eggs and stuff, so it's like
Mhm.
not conceptually different, but it's for some reason bizarre, and yet it's I don't know, it's just endlessly amusing to me. So anyway, the guy basically is like, "Fuck, I need a good sauce for my pho." So he basically creates a sauce and then looks around Los Angeles. He's basically a Los Angeles immigrant. Looks around, finds a little farm that basically sells the perfect red peppers, like ripe red jalapeno peppers. So he's like, "Fuck, I'm going to use that." And basically, the two of them develop a business empire together. Both of them expanding. As the one expands, the other expands. As the other expands, the other expands. For like 25, 30 years, and he makes himself a fucking billionaire from his goddamn essentially one product company. They have three or four products, but nobody buys the goddamn sambal, alac, and all that shit. They almost exclusively buy the sriracha sauce. Uh, he decides at some point, people were blaming his kids for a while, but no, actually, apparently it was him in a meeting with the Underwoods. The Underwoods had just spent some like 7 or 8 or 9 million dollars to upgrade their farm again so that they could meet his ever increasing production demands. And the guy basically fucking cuts them out in apparently a super acrimonious fight. Essentially, the Underwoods storm out and then sue him for $7 to $9 million and win. And now this guy basically he decided to outsource his production to Mexico. I've probably told this story on the show a couple times. It's so weird. The Mexicans, of course, by the way, don't have the same commitment to his success that Underwood did, right? Because they're not growing together. And anybody with a fucking brain, Mexicans included, know that
Ah.
his longest and most loyal supplier. So they're not going to be overly loyal, right? Like they have no incentive to be loyal to him. Like, what does a Mexican pepper producer give a fuck about some guy from north of the border? They're going to sell to whoever sells them, gives them the most money for their peppers. And we can establish that the guy's whole goal was basically to save money. So he's probably shopping around whoever has the fucking, the cheapest peppers. Anyway, so now for the second time, he has to shut down production because he can't get the peppers that basically his sauce demands. Because he famously has red pepper. They have to be ripe jalapeno peppers. And most of the time,
Huh.
jalapenos are picked green, basically, so they can still be
See,
shipped to the store and everything else. Uh,
see,
Basically have to ripen them on the vine. They might ripen to red on the shells, but realistically not. So you essentially have to harvest them and process them basically within a couple of days. And that has been always Hoi Fong's big secret is that they basically would take the peppers and literally drive them across town, essentially, not even across the state, but across town, and then produce, the hot sauce a couple, 3 times a year. Anyway,
huh.
Underwood now has obviously decided to make their own fucking sauce, and it took them a few tries, but in my opinion, the sauce is better than sriracha by far. It's better than the new versions of sriracha without a shadow of a doubt, because again, they have the good peppers. Like the Underwoods bred their own peppers and everything. It's really something that I think our audience would be interested in, because in order to be better pepper producers, they actually bred their peppers selectively for sriracha. Whereas when you hear a lot of talk about jalapeno peppers, you'll hear from like Texas, what is this? Texas A&M, I guess, was the main university, agricultural university that's
Howdy, partner.
jalapeno peppers. Makes sense because they're close to Mexico. Tex-Mex food has a lot of jalapenos, so it makes sense maybe that Oregon State wasn't the jalapeno university, right? Anyway, apparently Texas A&M has bred these very bland jalapenos that are, the jalapenos you buy at the store are pervasively pretty bland, and it's very rare to find any spicy ones. And the little hack, it's probably but the little hack that pepper people use is that they'll look for the wrinkled peppers. I don't know. To me, they seem a little bit spicier, but honestly, it's not as spicy as a pepper that you grow yourself from a good varietal. Well, again, you can still get all those varietals, just like with cannabis. You can still get all the cool varietals. You can get all the cool old shit. You can get all the cool, weird random shit. But a lot of the stuff you get at the dispensaries is the same stuff, and it's going to get more stepped on probably as time goes on. One of the reasons why they step on the jalapenos in terms of breeding is that it's much easier for companies that buy jalapenos for whatever, for salsa, for anything else, to just add pepper extract to up the heat. So for them, it's a consistent flavor if the jalapeno basically has the same flavor and almost no spice, and then they can add spice essentially or add heat, capsaicin, by just adding pepper extract basically that they distill from wherever the fuck. Gross, and definitely anti-pepperhead kind of thing. Anyway, the Underwoods have the real deal. And the most amazing thing now, this is the part that is the most fascinating to me, is that they seem to have won the thing because now I bought my Underwood Sriracha at Costco. Like they never sold Hui Fong Sriracha at Costco, but now they sell the Underwood shit at Costco. It's something else. Like to me, that's a success story. We'll see how it goes, but we'll see. Very amusing. And the basically the Underwood Sriracha tastes like what I remember Sriracha used to taste a long time ago when it was tangy and spicy, vinegary. Like lately it was more, I mean, I probably just have a higher pepper tolerance too, but it was more like ketchup to me, honestly. It was almost sweet and everything else. The Underwood has a little bit of a bite. I mean, it's still not super spicy, but it
Nice.
has a bite. Anyway, I like it. It's also like bright red.
I want spice. I want something spicy now, damn it.
Take a bite out of a Reaper pepper. Random family
I
friend.
gotta get
Not
some
on tonight.
hot
Not on tonight.
pepperoni later.
I guess nobody's here.
Hot pepperoni's good.
Was that D?
I'm gonna go grab some hot pepperoni later. Later store, I
All right.
think. You got me wanting hot food now. That's
Mm.
so spicy.
Hmm.
Cheers, Miranda.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yes,
about
I believe
it
you're
earlier
right.
today. I'm thinking about it more now. I'm like, I don't know, man. These live streams, like some people enjoy them, but it does fuck all for like channel growth or anything like that. Like it does really nothing for me. It doesn't drive website visits or anything like that. Like it's nice to have a little community, but it's an ever shrinking community too because YouTube won't show it to new people. So as people move on with their lives or get different hobbies or just get busy or whatever, the audience just ever decreases basically. And it's kind of pervasively depressing that way. So, and I don't think it needs to be that way. I think it's supposed to be a happy place that we, discuss cool shit. So I don't know. I'm thinking a few different things. I'm thinking on the one hand, we probably need less of these shows, but if it's not less, at least maybe we'll filter them differently. I was thinking of myself for the longest, God damn it, what the hell is that? For the longest time, I not do anything about just the hundreds of hours of old shows that I basically made private with Jesus H Christ. Koo was on there for probably no exaggeration, a couple hundred hours, had all kinds of cool interviews with all kinds of people. I can't really afford to unprivate it because despite the fact that I feel like the biggest problem that was getting my channel shut down has gone away. I'm not going to discuss how, but I feel like it has gone away. I still don't think that I can risk having all my shit just taken down one day by making it public again. Too easy to report that shit, honestly. So I think basically the only way to give any access to that, if anybody wants it anymore, it's already not fresh anymore. I don't know, but where else are you going to find hundreds of hours of people talking to Coot and all these other different people? We had all kinds of cool discussions, not to mention Bud Kilowatts, cool stories from over the years. Anyway, I'm just thinking to myself, maybe we'll do the join thing. Maybe I will finally set that up, and maybe that'll be one of the ways to actually have these live shows. I'm thinking maybe for the most part, I will stop doing live shows on the bigger channel, Female and the Flavors, and I'll probably actually hide all the live shows on that because they do no benefit when I want to interview like that Christine Jones or somebody, that soil scientist. Like she'll look at the show and she'll just think we're a bunch of stupid stoners. So people like that would look down on our discussions, and it's frustrating because actually, if you were to wait 5 minutes and listen to discussion, it's actually very often a very fruitful discussion. But it is what it is. Perception becomes reality. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna take the live streams and leave them on this channel, maybe. And yeah, thank fuck that guy fucking vanished a while ago. My guess is that has more to do with his idiot life than anything else, but whatever.
Hmm.
Let's not Beetlejuice that fucker into existence again. Cheers, Major General. Anyway, what was I talking about? Back to women. I haven't decided for sure, but I'm thinking maybe this is a good avenue because it's not like I want to pull the rug out from under these live discussions. They are a charming place for people to kind of tell their interesting stories, and sometimes we do have really fun discussions. It would be nice to keep doing them. And also, I'm a little bit attached to them too, so it's not like I want to throw them completely in the garbage. So maybe I'll put them on this channel, and then, like I say, with the bigger channel, perhaps I'll try to do more recorded content, recorded interviews, stuff like that. And then maybe I will unlock the old library to joiners. I think I'm able to do that. I guess I'm haven't done it for so long that I don't know. Maybe the terms have changed, but I think that was one of the options. If people join your channel membership, they're able to join private videos. Like a couple times,
Yes.
done like photo master classes, stuff like that. I've joined the channel for a month or two or something, and I was able to get the private links. Anyway, YouTube's constantly changing, so we'll see. That's my idea because again,
They
I'm tired of pulling teeth. I'm tired of just sitting here. Like D and I have better stuff to do than just to kind of sit here and provide a place for you to smoke. Like this is supposed to be a discussion place where we get discussion as well as you guys. So that's part of the frustration there. Anyway, work in progress, ladies and germs, because we'll see how this all goes. But Midwest Outlaw saying I have two Vortex and one Banana Jack OG. The last of my let's say subcool gear. Fuck. Stupid thing is
Oh, I forget who it was, but
hardened in
yesterday
the way, and I can't see if it says it's subcool gear or something else. So freaking annoying. Why is that heart there anyway? I don't understand. Am I gonna heart my own chat? I just hearted my own chat. Whatever. Anyway, I'm assuming that Midwest Outlaw says from sub because I remember that Banana Jack. Damn it, that Banana Jack. I had a really nice one. I had really low germ. I was so embarrassed to tell Sub. I was like, oh, he's gonna never send me seeds again. That was basically, I think, my first tester from him. And I was like, oh man, he's gonna freaking think I'm a moron. Da, da, da. So I told him all about everything happened, how I germed him, and how I normally don't have problems and whatever. Anyway, I had two that germed, and one was a dude and one was a chick. And the chick was fucking amazing. The flower was actually like custardy banana, which seems to have been really rare for first of all, that banana jack, I think that was pretty rare for that. Most people, I think, said they got banana peel, blah, 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 blah. But also just in general, even with that banana OG, you don't really get that custardy banana, I think, very often. But anyway, it was a beautiful combination, and I foolishly ended up cutting the fucker down. So I was just dumb. Pardon the Dank says he grew out some of those banana jack. They turned out great for me. Um, It's been a long time, but anecdotally, sort of, I remember. That's kind of a weird way to say that, but I sort of remember that there were like two batches of the banana jack, and some of them had very low germ and some of them didn't. So maybe something happened to them in the mail. I don't know. Really, I got 2 out of 10 seeds because I think I popped all 10 seeds. I guess Sub mostly sent out 5 packs, so it was 2 5 packs, and I popped them both, and literally 2 out of 10 cracked. Anyway. What does the heart button even do? I don't know, man. Hopefully, it doesn't electrocute a little puppy or something every time you
it
touch
does
it.
that.
Like
It'll
fucking
hurt to come
taps a
up.
hamster or some shit. I don't even know. What does that do?
That's what happens. It'll hurt to come up on your chat screen If you guys can probably see it now.
That's it. But hopefully it's not powered by the suffering of all mammals. Secretly, it's plugged up to your dad's balls or something.
Wow, this stuff makes me silly.
What is it again?
The oh shit. Scroll up here. Dairy Queen.
Dairy Queen. Nice.
Dairy Queen gives me the friggin' makes me goofy.
Oh, now there's a few more contents or comments. That was last of my sub gear.
There we go.
Hmm.
And you're right, by the way. That's how they usually do it. You can do private chat or private. What you're saying with the viewers, have
Mm.
them join
Yeah, hopefully. Maybe I'll set that shit up
exclusive
in
content
the
or
near
private
future.
content. It's called.
Because I don't know of a bunch, but enough people have asked, and it's been maybe a couple of weeks since someone asked, but they continue to ask, like, "Oh, hey, Fumi, whatever happened to the old shows?" So I'm like, I don't
There
know,
is
maybe there's some demand for it, as long as that I don't press the price the membership too high. I don't know, $4.20 or something. I don't really know. Maybe we'll see. I'll think about it. I've kind of refused doing it for the longest time because I don't know. I've just had this thing. I don't know. I probably have to change it, frankly, because it has not worked out really. But I've had this thing that my groups should be open, not closed memberships. And so the idea even of that like join membership was sort of like me. I don't even know. But yeah, the open forum. When I think about it, kind of, I mean, it has worked out on some sense because I've met a lot of you guys, but also I can't even tell you the amount of assholes that have passed through this fucking show. I could list them all, but there's no sense, right? But oh my God, the people with personality defects, and the only reason we really encountered them is that I left the door open to everybody. So I'm like, man, alive. Maybe I should start doing private tasting groups. It would be so much easier. Private invitation only shows, on and on and on. We'll figure it out.
And I think when you join as a member, you get like a green name. So your name
Mhm.
is special.
Not only that, but I
Special?
think you get, or you can
Special?
get emojis and stuff. I have to look into it
Yeah.
more.
Yep.
But yeah, you could be special. Don't you want to be special? Well, here comes Florinugs. Say hello to Mr. Nugs. Mr.
Yo,
Florinugs, I was just thinking if you were to, or he's saying just a minute, I was just thinking, is his wife Mrs. Nugs? Is that how it works? Or if you had kids, they would be the little Nugs.
If you name one of them D, would that be D Nugs?
These Nugs. Nice.
D Nugs?
I I didn't know what to make like for a name. Like there used to be this guy and sort of affiliated with TGA, and his name was Nug Buckets. And I used to really like his pictures and stuff. And I was like, nugs, flowers, Flora nugs, flower nuggets. I don't know. I was
Hmm.
just really high one day. And then once you make a name, it's like it's kind of like hard to I don't know. I guess you can switch your name around, but that's kind of weird.
Yeah, you could change it to bad motherfucker.
But
Or bad mother flower. That'd be a good one. Bad mother flower.
with the
Uh,
flowers. Yeah.
that's bad,
Was
bad,
like,
bad mother flora or something.
huh,
It's full on
So
today.
yeah, Banana Jack, I got to grow that. That was pretty good. That was one of another one that like I thought it'd be around forever, so I didn't keep it.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah, I think a lot of people were like that. I remember I cut down a few things because I just kept expecting more testers from Sub, right? And then just basically life went sideways for him and didn't get any more testers. But I cut
but
down Roswell. I cut down a fucking few things, honestly, because I was like, oh, I'll just get more. It'll be fine. But yeah, you never assume that something will be the last. Like you always have to realize that you should appreciate life and you should appreciate all the fun things that happen in it because it might not happen again, you know. You'll assume like,
Well,
oh, I'm going to keep getting seeds from so and so forever, and then so and so falls
it
off.
wasn't even that. Like I assumed that he was gonna be around for like another 20 years.
Really?
And
Yeah. I mean, how do I put this? He definitely wasn't showing great signs with his Alpha 1. So I was like, man, this guy's probably not going to be around. I didn't think he'd be around for 20 years, but I thought he'd be around for another 10 years, you know? Like he didn't seem that he actually admitted from time to time that he was quite a bit sicker than he seemed, actually. So it's possible that even that was too much, honestly. Maybe even 5 years was too much. But fuck, you
oh,
didn't expect he was going to die in a goddamn van in the desert, that year, a few years ago. So yeah, I would have assumed he'd still be around now. Yeah, it's weird that he isn't. Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of the timing of him dying and then the timing of all the legal changes and everything sort
Mm.
of kind of sucks that you get at least another 5 years.
Yeah, and he certainly never basically got to cash out like some of the folks I think have started to do, or have already, honestly. A lot of his sort of compatriots and colleagues and stuff, I think, still struggle for kind of a quote unquote cash out that I think a lot of them assume is coming. I guess we don't have to name any names, but I think there's a lot of people who were the cultural standards of weed for a long time have not really made a lot of money because nobody really needs them anymore. Um, where am I going with that? Yeah, I think a lot of those people probably assumed that they were going to get some big payday. Sub certainly never got one. It's not like he was living, I mean, he was kind of living paycheck to paycheck, but it's not like he was living on the street or something, but he definitely wasn't really rolling in it.
I more saw it as like he was sort of like a voice for cannabis that was like reasonable, where he wasn't like
Mm,
a Ed Rosenthal, where he was like so out there and so disconnected from the plant. Like he was actually like in it with the weed there, so to speak,
mhm,
right? He was like spread all, he didn't know everything, but what he did know and did learn, he would tell everybody. And he was really
mhm,
passionate. He would a good front man, really good front
mhm.
man kind of thing, like for cannabis. And there hasn't really been another one of those. Like I think Kyle Cushman tried for a little bit, but he just doesn't have the same kind of personality as Sub. Sub walks in a
Yeah,
room
that
like rock
same
star.
kind of, and it's a funny thing to say about Sub because as you and I both know he wasn't exactly the most honest person, but he didn't have the same weed honesty. I think that probably would be it. Like you could tell he was just a genuine weed nerd first and foremost. And no matter if the weed was free or expensive or anything else, he was still going to be smoking it, right? If he was paid for it, if he wasn't paid for it, he would still be growing it, still be smoking it, all of that. Just the joy of growing was still alive for him. And not to say that Kyle's a bad guy or something, but I just don't get that same vibe from him that I did from Sub. Um, you
Definitely
know,
don't get the
I
same
would
vibe.
assume this might be completely unfair, but I would assume that if Sub were still alive and literally had a shack in the desert somewhere, he'd be growing a couple plants with the drops of water that he distills off of a fucking, I don't know if he was on Dune, if he was in on fucking Arrakis, he'd be the guy distilling the still tent, and instead of drinking it, he'd be pouring it on a fucking weed plant. You know what I mean? That's a
With
rare,
super
a
soil.
rare trait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Midwest Outlaw says I thought Sub would get old as
Fuck.
fuck, be at cups in a wheelchair, still ranting about cannabis. And he was wrong. Yeah, nailed it.
Wait, what was the name of that place, Fumi?
What, Arrakis?
Arrakis? I'm gonna write that down. Next time I call an airplane scammer, I'm gonna tell them I want to fly to Arrakis.
Do it.
Well, I've already
Brackets.
got them. I
Listen
already
up,
tell them I wanted.
idiot!
I tell them I have told them I wanted to go to Turok Nor before, which
Nice.
is Deep Space Nine, and I also wanted to fly to Cardassian Prime.
How about Tatooine?
Okay, so wait, what was the name of that place again? Sorry,
Arrakis.
Arrakis.
Um,
All
We're
right.
gonna need that round trip ticket to Arrakis to Alpha Centauri.
the best part is that Frank Herbert actually loaded a bunch of Easter eggs into that whole Dune series. Like all the star systems of the whole Dune story are actually not too far away. Like I can't remember what the names for them. Like Arrakis, even I don't remember which one it is, but it's basically like I don't know, 15, 20 light years away. It's really not that far away in cosmic terms. Anyway, they're like real star systems. Actually, it's kind of funny. Like in Star Trek that I love, but mind you, but Star Trek just makes up a fuckload of stuff, the EPS conduits and stuff. Like anytime they want to do something technical, it's like, oh my God, Captain, the EPS conduits need fixing. What's an EPS conduit? Nobody fucking knows. They've even asked the writers. Like it's just a kerbuffin or whatever they call it. It's a plot device basically that we do use to sound technical. It's better sounding than the doohickey dongles, in the fucking moonlight or some shit. Anyway, but so Star Trek is full of a lot of hand wavy magic technology, whereas Dune he kind of tried to ground it a little bit more.
I'm definitely a Trekkie more than a Star Wars thing.
Oh
I
fuck
like
yeah, holy shit. I'm constantly amazed that people are so into Star Wars because like yeah, okay, spaceships, lightsabers, who wouldn't be into that? But I mean like it's constant war. It's a feudal society. Now mind you the Dune world is basically a feudal society, so that's pretty rough, but it's this whole story of uplift whatever. Anyway, interesting dynamic. But in the Star Wars, never-ending war and even when the rebels win, they still don't win because basically they have to restart the goddamn war. And so the next movie is like, oh my God, the Empire comes back. And the Empire comes back again. And now with the Mandalorian, the Empire is coming back again. Like always, and they're always super evil. It's very, very interesting. Why would you be into that universe where like the Empire is always evil? There's not even one nice emperor just randomly. Like the Roman Empire sometimes had good emperors and sometimes had bad ones. There was the seven good emperors, like in a row, they had seven good emperors, and they had Caligula and they had a few other bad ones. So like you'd think that the Empire would have a few decent ones, a few bad. No, it's always super evil fuckers. It's a really brutal universe. What the fuck?
yeah,
And then
I
let's
don't
The
not
know.
Jar Jar Binks. Like that's
That's
bad.
George Lucas. That's how he thinks. Maybe he's evil.
only three
Not only
the only,
that, but he ripped off Dune completely. Like, other than changing the name Arrakis to Tatooine, it's basically the same fucking story. He added lightsabers, I guess, but yeah.
there's only three Star Wars movies to me, and that's the first three.
um, what was that one? Rogue One was actually pretty good.
I've
Uh,
never seen any of the new ones. I have no
oh no.
interest. I'm
Uh,
Star Wars to Star
Rogue
Trek.
One was good. The effects are wonderful. Like they Disney definitely has the best like technology and stuff. They have this crazy LED screen that basically broadcasts or projects rather the live CGI basically of the places, the planets, and whatever the fuck that the actors are walking around. So the actors can basically interact with their environment. I mean, not really because they're not actually on some planet or whatever, but it looks like it, right? And so even for the actors, they don't have to pretend that there's actually a green screen behind them and they're just in the space lab. They can actually kind of pretend that they're in that environment. It's very interesting. And you also get different shading and stuff on their face. Very subtle, but it seems to pay off. Anyway, technology wise, Disney is tops, but yeah, their stories are so fucking juvenile too, though. Like all the new stuff, like it's so infantile. Ah, yeah, same thing with like I like the Mandalorian, but the fucking stories are so simple. It's just and everything. It's kind of like the music. Da, 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 da. It's just like this thing happens, and then the Mandalorian has to fix it, and then there's a complication, but the Mandalorian pulls it off with the help of his friends, and then they go to the next episode. It's just literally
I mean,
one,
isn't
two, three,
kind
four,
of
five. Pardon?
doesn't Disney have to
Error,
dumb it down
error.
because it's
Doesn't Disney
Disney?
dumb it down yet? Oh, fuck it, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they have to, right, for kids.
I
That's their
guess so,
main
yeah, because
audience.
they're over. I mean, funny thing is, there's a lot of Disney nuts that are adults. There's the whole Disney people and whatever. I don't remember what they call themselves, but the Disney people, those people, they're fucking, they spend
Yeah, I see it
thousands
all
every
over.
year. And it's really, their whole house is Disney and whatever. It's surprising to me that Disney doesn't cater more to them, that they do actually
They're,
spend so much kind of cultural capital on little kids. But,
well, they kind of are. Like I don't know if you've heard of Cotina, but Cotina is this adults. They're building it. Basically, what they did is it was like 5 mile by 5 mile square, and they're making a big adult Disney thing. And it's houses that you're going to buy, and they're going to be between $3 and $14 million.
what the fuck?
It's, look up Catino.
Jesus Christ. Um,
Uh, see if I can
Tina
find
Disney
it.
Band.
just closed
It's
their
it's
Galactic
here. It's
Hotel or
like it's
whatever.
like it's like 20 minutes away from where I live right now. Let's see, if I can find the right thing.
Broadcast. What?
CTC says the new
They're,
Star Wars is awful.
Maybe Disney. Let's do Disney. But no,
Oh,
Disney's weird. One of the places I've never been there. Theme park I've never been interested in going to for some reason.
Went there a
no.
lot when I was a kid, but yeah, as an adult, it's different, especially since like the parks are just so insufferable these days. Like I'm not willing to wait in line for 3 hours for a 2 or 3 minute ride. It's just like bonkers, and I love rides, but I'm not gonna wait that long. It's just idiotic. And then
Do
oh,
this
okay, you
crazy
can pay for
shit.
the extra pass. Like I'm not gonna spend $400 or $500 on a fucking pass for the day to go on some roller coasters.
I don't know if you want. I'd rather just go to Six Flags.
A story living by Disney community. I'm already
Yeah,
this
this
is
is where it's gonna be between
for
3 million
no
and
amount of
14
money could I
million.
live here. Like, I don't care. I mean, okay, if you paid me some just exorbitant amount of money, maybe I could find a way to.
But they're like building a lake, a fake lake around, and like all these giant expensive houses, and it's just crazy.
It's even on 10 Danube Drive, Rancho Mirage,
But it's
California.
for 55 plus. You see, for older people, right? So it's like who?
Huh,
It's
perfect.
craziness. Disney.
The equestrian themed dog park.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they're building us maybe 20
Stuff
minutes
like
away
this
from.
that really makes me believe in higher taxation for the rich. Seriously. If you're dumb enough and rich enough to spend
What?
money on that, you should be paying higher taxes.
And I want to know what they're smoking when they come up with names like that.
Patino.
No, the dogs with the pony, the ranch or whatever the fuck it was with the riding.
Yeah, what was it? Ranchero Mirage or some shit? I can't even
Rancho
remember.
Mirage. So it's all boozy stuff. It's really high price.
The fuck?
There's no bums in Rancho Mirage. It's really nice there, actually.
Yeah, they probably shoot them. They probably have a sniper on the rooftops, fucking whacking every bum. Shit, it's a bum walking into town.
I
Get
think
it
they
for
give them a ticket to
7.
LA.
What's that?
So they probably just give them a free bus ticket and get to LA. Get the fuck out of
You don't
here.
think you kind here, Lebowski?
They're like, hey, the Greyhound comes over there. You need to get out.
Jason Online says had to hit the wifey with the anti-venom to the grapefruit Malawi. Looks like the Jason's wife there was down for the count. Would you have to give her 2 ounces of Triangle Kush stat?
Man, I came across yesterday this grape animal cookie hash.
Hmm.
And
What?
it's so amazing. I want to figure out a way to reproduce it because I looked it up and
Grape
it's
Stomper and animal cookies and fucking breed them together, make happy babies
it's
and make hash out
grape
of it.
it's grape vape and animal cookies, but
Uh,
they're two clone onlys. So
Grape Ape was gettable in California for a while. I don't know if it is anymore.
yeah, grape
I
vape's
like
still
grape
Animal
gettable.
bait.
cookies is gettable.
That animal cookie Fino, the real one, I used to have that cut from Sirius, but he's dead now. The guy that made it, and
Hmm.
so most people don't have that real animal cookie cut. They have the BC Bud Depot knockoff animal cookies that they sold
Hmm.
millions of packs of seeds of,
Hmm.
which is might be similar, but I think what they did is they took the clone only and they crossed it back to Fire OG,
Hmm.
which is because animals like cookies and Fire OG.
Cookies.
Yeah,
Well, you've got cookie OG crosses. Does it actually have to be? I was just gonna say you can honestly just breed your own. You're a fucking breeder. Like that's the nice thing.
yeah.
We're like Lego. We play with Legos basically. You end up building things
And I'm
essentially from
thinking like
scratch.
I had speaking of Kyle Cushman, like he was actually nice enough to hook me up with Grape Ape like
Hmm.
2018-ish,
Hmm.
28, yeah, something like that. He sent me to his person and I got it. And so I have already done some work with that, but I crossed it to Bob, a gas station Bob, and I crossed it to some other stuff. And, but I don't have it in a pure form. And that person he sent me to doesn't live in California anymore.
Hmm.
So it's like sort of ungettable
Yeah.
in a pure form right now. I'm sure there's always somebody in the woods that keeps it alive, but I don't know that person. So it's just like that dog walker. I really want that motherfucker too, but I don't know that person.
I think I don't know if he works there anymore. I've tried to go to have I gone to the original store? Because they moved the Roots Garden Supply where One Eye Rick is what he went by. Rick's
Arr.
real name. He doesn't actually have one eye, but I don't know where the name came from. Anyway, yeah, you used to be able to just talk to him at Roots about whatever. He was like the pest guy, whatever. If you had bug problems or something, you would just go talk to Rick. He trained the staff really well. He was the manager basically at Roots. I don't know, maybe he's moved on. I guess I haven't really done the legwork to check if he still works there. But I can tell you that Roots is actually quite different. Like a couple times I've called, like the guys just don't know what they're talking about. So I'm like, yeah, Rick probably doesn't work there anymore because in the past he wouldn't have allowed like them to say stupid shit.
Haven't been to a haven't been to one of those things in a long time. Those what do you call them? Garden supply shops.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it's their fucking face, Grow Generation bought everybody, or literally everybody within 100 miles of me. The
Mm.
Grow Generation, like all the mom and pop shops, they were good. And then Grow Generation doesn't only carries like stuff that they're like in bed with like Hawthorne kind of thing. So like if it doesn't come from like Hawthorne, then they pretty much don't have it. So it's like, all these like small microbe companies. I used to buy all these like microbes and bacterias and different, I don't know, it's different organic shit.
On the
You
bright
can't get
side, frankly, you're probably saving money on mostly meaningless stuff. I have to be frank, like most of those like bottled packaged products are not as good
they probably didn't do much.
as
It's just
pastors.
mental psyching myself out, you
Yeah.
know. But I don't know.
It is, just a little crutch.
But I still,
It's
I
not even a
still use
crutch, it's like training
still
wheels,
use the
basically.
Basilius blend of stuff with everything I do. Like I have a belief that Basilius is doing something. And I definitely use mycorrhiza, but you can get that, I guess, at the big stores. It's just what's the
Mm.
quality, right? So,
Ooh, I
and like
don't know.
ladybugs, can't buy those locally anymore. Nowhere I know I can get those. I have to like order ladybugs online, and I still use green lace wings too. I have to order
Mm.
those online.
You
Those are,
don't
I
have a buggery, whatever it's called?
Desert, so it'd probably be pretty expensive to do that.
was gonna say your mom likes buggery.
I think San Diego has an insectary thing somewhere out there. What's that guy? It's
You
that
do.
bug guy on the YouTubes.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I forget his name.
Well,
Joel. Change your name, Joel.
Cheers.
There you go.
Good to see
You're
you.
muted.
We were just talking about just talking about weed. CTC has a nice comment. He says, I had some Black Prince Ruby in my pocket, and some non-smokers walked by and asked why it smelled like oranges. I could see why they wouldn't know it was grapefruit as a smell. It's funny.
oh, cool.
Up, Joel.
What's going on, North Star? What's the good word?
You muted,
Still,
Muted.
you can't.
muted.
You're muted.
No can hear you.
There
Ah, there we go.
we go. Now we can hear
Yeah, I was just doing the dad thing, dropping kids off, picking kids up, doing shit like that.
you.
I got one kid in college here doing her finals,
Huh.
and she was driving herself, but she got sick this winter. She's been dealing with dizziness ever since it's winter time, so we don't let her drive.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty much drop off, pick up.
Hmm.
So it's like 30 miles a day or so, just
Right,
taking
that's
kids to
important.
and from school.
Well, what can you do?
Tomorrow's the last the last one,
Nice.
last final exam. So I'll get a bit of a reprieve after that.
Right. Hopefully she does well.
Between that, I mean, I started harvesting a
sorry.
greenhouse. I chopped out all my darkwood this weekend. I got some more plants I got to start chopping down. They're coming in hopefully by this weekend or beginning next week. I have to start bringing the the blood moon in, but get that sucker all harvested up so that I can get it replanted.
Nice.
Actually, I got to redo. I had a little rebuild on that greenhouse. The plastic is kind of shot, so I'm gonna tear all the plastic off, and I think I'm gonna just kind of raise the whole thing like 6 inches to a foot, so I have a little more headroom going out of the damn door. I hit my head like at least once a week walking in and out of the door of the place. So make a couple adjustments to the greenhouse.
What do you do for your well, am I muted?
No.
What do you do for your
What?
seed shucking type thing? Like, do you dry the plants to get bone dry and then use sort of some kind of machine, or what are you doing to sort your seeds? Like, extract them first from the plant, sort of.
No, I don't extract it. All the seed chuck. I used to save it for RSL stuff. It all goes into the trash now. It's into the burn pile. But I dry everything so it's totally dry. A lot of times the seeds will be sitting in the plant drying for a good month before I even get to them. I have other stuff I'm doing, so I had everything all separate. I come back, I just basically pull all the main stems out. I put on the heavy duty rubber gloves and I go in there and just rub everything till it's all powderized. Then I have a couple of compost screens, different levels. And I screen out the fine seed shuck from the bigger stuff, and then I have one of those little vacuum jobs that suck the waste product through, kind of thing, at the end.
That same thing Subcool showed, I think, once. Vacuum.
Yeah, actually, I borrowed his, and I just went ahead and took measurements of it and built my own.
Oh, nice.
It's about $65 of materials.
That's
Took about
awesome.
maybe 2 hours to put together between just just taking all the measurements of everything, and then the wood's all just one by material and some plexiglass. It wasn't anything expensive. Just
you should release a drawing of some blueprints, because there's a guy in Vancouver that tries to sell those for $700 a piece on the.
I've seen that.
yeah.
Actually, like, it's not Flora. It's not that unreasonable when you think about it. Woodwork is somewhat time consuming. The equipment is pretty expensive to get a table saw, router, jointer, on and on and on. If you actually really want to make the thing smooth, and I don't know how well he's making it, but if it is actually sanded and smooth and oiled and stuff, like, honestly,
like I have a
not
company
that
called
much time.
Seedburn. Say a company makes all kinds of industrial seed separations devices and stuff, different types of centrifugal force, different things to separate round seeds from unround seeds, and then like the stuff like the old method DNA used to have. They had a vacuum that blew the shuck up, and it had a bin you pull a cup in and out of. All the different machines, they're double, triple the cost of that machine for $700. They are thousands of dollars. The seed chucking machines that are like industrial professional ones, they are way overpriced. So, granted, it's overpriced. It's just Home Depot, one by material and made at home, but still a lot cheaper than you're going to pay if you're going to go buy something from an actual company that's what they do for business, is making seed separation products. They charge a lot.
Yeah, and I'm doing it the caveman way, where
pretty
much like you have it, where you. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I use that after I get it all down to basically just really fine shuck material and whatever seeds left in the final screen, and that gets run through there, and basically 90% of everything goes right down the bottom. Just add a little bit of fine shuck, and a little piece of stem gets sucked down there too, usually with the seeds, because they're less wind resistance, I guess, and all the fine material goes to the side there. Works pretty good. It's definitely a lot faster than taking like a big tray and carting it all.
Yeah, if you want to find it, just anyone who's watching, I just Google.
I do sometimes find out that even though I run it like that, I have seeds that are really, really small, and they still fall through the smallest holes of the separator. So I run it through the vacuum. The bigger seeds in the vacuum. The small seeds are still be in the bottom of my tray that I'm using my compost shuckers with. So I end up carting some of that too, just to get some of the material out, and then I run it through the thing again afterwards. But that's just for really small seeds. Usually the like pure sativa type stuff.
Cheers, everybody, by the way. Happy 420.
We'll go a little
Ding, ding.
bit since North Star just hopped on. We'll smoke a joint or two, ladies and germs. Welcome to hop on and join the conversation. What were we just talking about earlier in the show? We didn't get a thought from Flora or North Star. Daily cannabis use now outpaces daily alcohol use in the United States, according to the results of a study incorporating data going back to 1979. Isn't that freaking incredible? Like, honestly, I think it's a pretty spectacular thing. I think a lot of people's worst memories in many cases involve alcohol. Since when do your worst enemy or your worst memories involve weed, right? So just from that metric, a lot of people are going to end up doing less stupid shit at parties and whatever else. I think it's great news. It's not a surprise to me why the alcohol industry is so scared of the weed industry, though. I would be willing to bet when legalization comes, the alcohol industry, probably more than the tobacco companies, honestly, will start buying up a weed industry plays, because honestly, it's probably a more direct competitor. Everyone thought it was going to be the tobacco companies, but the tobacco companies and the weed companies don't really compete with each other. Yeah, it seems like it's a zero-sum game, honestly, with alcohol. It's kind of interesting.
Well, alcohol itself's taken quite a change too. I find that you're having more wine drinkers than you ever had. People are getting a little more fancy with what they're drinking than what you look at the micro beer market. I mean, in the past 20 years, you went from having big company beers and a few micro beers to where literally almost everything I see. I rarely see people actually buying the crap piss beer anymore. I see most people buying little small things of micro beer. So they're having to buy the small companies up to keep them in business too, within their business, because they're getting blown out by bunches of microbrews.
And then the macro brews realize how unattractive their beers are, so they start buying up the micro brews so that people don't realize they're still making money basically on this side of the shelf and on that side of the shelf.
They're going to do the same thing with cannabis. They'll buy them companies up and just let them do their thing, and they're going to be the companies that make their money off of people's vices. So they're the vice company. Just
will be. Hope we didn't just lose Flora. Jack Beanstalk is asking North Star. He says, ask Joel if he was successful in his aphid battle he spoke of a few weeks ago. Jack apparently battled them recently, and he was curious of your method.
Oh yeah, I use the Botanigard. It's a wettable powder. It's a bacteria that basically inhibits feeding, I believe, and it really pisses them off. And pyrethrin. I give everything a good spray down, and I mean between the Pyganics, organic pyrethrin, whatever, that pretty much kills anything living on the plants. And then the Botanigard is about a 7-day residual. So I usually hit them once there, and then about 5-6 days later, I hit it up again just to be whether I see them or not, just to double back on it, just to see if I missed anything, to get them in the cycle of laying eggs and shit like that. And good.
The cheapest product, people will always be like sticker shock.
Works good.
I hate to say it, but it doesn't last all that long either. So there's no real good news there. It's not like you're going to end up getting it on sale or something. If you do get an old bottle of it or something, it loses effectiveness apparently. PFR 97 is even more expensive. I think it's $250 a bag. You get more of it. It's like 5 pounds. But you really can't use it very, very long. I think it's only good for like a year, especially if you open the package. I think it's good for like 6 months. So it's a pretty brutal price, but this stuff actually does seem to work pretty well. So
I use that also. I use what I have for root aphids. Water into the soil. It works pretty well for them too.
Whew. I hate root aphids with a hot passion. I can't even express it. They're such terrible little creatures. Oh my absolute.
You know what I hate about them the most is I'm sitting here thinking I got some kind of like nutrient deficiency. I'm fucking up my plants. I'm like spraying. What the fuck's going on? Then I go to transplant a plant. I'm like, oh, you son of a bitches, you're all over my root. I didn't think to rip the goddamn plant out of the pot, in the first week when it started looking shitty that had root aphids on it or something. And you never notice them really. Yeah, see some. I think they're fungus gnats flying out, and they're really the aphid nymphs flying out laying eggs. You don't really realize it if you're not inspecting a little fungus gnat in your garden. You have 100 plants. Usually, by the time you realize you have root aphids, you have a dozen plants that have root aphids in them, and you're like, I gotta treat the whole fucking garden for root aphids now.
Yep.
And it's probably something if you really paid that you could have got in the early stages from the first bag of soil you found them in. Because they usually come into your garden from the bag of soil you buy at the nursery. They come in there.
Huh.
And yeah, you probably, I don't know, start treating your soil before you even plant your plants, maybe. I know some people do that, but
I've always just assumed
I
that I
thought
brought him in. I have to be frank. I've always assumed that I brought him. Well, thankfully, I only brought him in one time. I think actually my caretaker, because I was gone for a few weeks, and basically during that time I got aphids. So I think during that time they were brought in. They might have been brought in by ants, though. That's a thing that happens. I don't know. I've wondered, honestly, I've wondered for the longest time if it was possible to get root aphids from a bag of soil. I think you probably could get spider mites, you could probably get thrips, you could probably get a few different things, but root aphids, I think, have to have a root to feed on. So I'm honestly curious how long the soil could sit without them feeding. Could they potentially, because root aphids most of the time reproduce asexually, they don't actually use eggs. They can lay eggs, and like once or twice a year, they will actually lay eggs, and then you're properly fucked. But before that, they reproduce asexually. It's creepy. It's like the Borg, basically. They give birth to live females that are essentially a clone of the mothers. This is not something you guys don't know, but anyone in the audience, all the babies are clones of the mother, basically, that are themselves pregnant, and then those babies will also have basically pregnant babies. So it's just like this fractal fuckery of pregnant fucking clone females. And then once or twice a year, the males come out, and that's when you have the flying winged root aphids. And then you're just again properly fucked, because then once they're laying eggs, they lay eggs everywhere.
everywhere.
So you're just absolutely fucked. What was I going to say? Oh, just they're a nightmare, I guess. Let's try to explain to everybody. People always think of nuclear war or whatever else. You just dream of root aphids if you want proper scaredness. It almost rice root aphids actually almost killed the French wine industry a couple times, and the only way that the French wineries were able to save their vines was by getting North American grapefruit vines that were or grape vine roots that were more impervious to rice root aphids because they evolved together over a few 100,000 years because they're basically Native American grapevines essentially, and they would graft the Native American grapevine roots to the French grapes on the top, and that way basically the root aphids couldn't fucking kill everything. It took them like 50 or 100 years to figure that out too. So literally, North American root aphids almost killed the entire French wine industry. Bonkers when you think about it. A fucking bug, like just seriously, a goddamn bug.
Well, the whole technique of grafting the rootstock is really awesome. I hope they start doing that in Canada someday. I mean, just the idea, like all my fruit trees are all grafted onto a sturdier rootstock.
Hmm.
Now, the idea of being to have a really healthy root system on cannabis and have whatever kind of plant went on top sounds great. It's just the whole action of it's not like it's going to take a multi-year process of growing this plant over and over and let it grow bigger and bigger. You got to be able to get a graft that heals and takes off. It doesn't, the bottom part doesn't die. Everything within like weeks as the plant's growing. I don't see how it can ever happen, but it would be really cool if they could figure that one out.
Yeah,
You get a really like super vigorous sativa structure and something that just grows awesome and hook that to some kind of old
like
OG stock.
Right?
What's that
You
for?
put it really woody so that you build a graph. Like it would need to be pretty woody. There's a lot of because you need it to build. You don't want to just like whoop and die. So something like Obama Kush, where it was like basically wood.
Be interesting. I wonder if you could put like a perennial root, for example. Like they talk about what is it, the Reunion Island, I guess, that basically has like a perennial kind of growth structure, or what was it, flow or something you could harvest multiple times. Anyway, I'm just thinking about if you could get something like that selected to actually be a perennial root, basically. I wonder if that would keep the plants alive for a long time. You could graft, clones to have mothers on there. It'd be very interesting to actually see something like that, you know? This reminds
I
me
wonder
too.
if it changes water uptake.
What's that, Flora?
I wonder if it changes the water uptake and like how it feeds and everything. You know,
Yeah,
how it,
interesting question, honestly. I wonder if it changes the flavor and stuff like that as well. Uh, I guess this is a distant connection, but I was still intrigued. Uh, Probably on Reddit, I was reading about how there used to be 17,000 North American apple varieties that were cultivated. And I think a lot of people don't know that apples are just as phenotypically variant per seed as cannabis is. And consequently, all your favorite apples are basically clones. Essentially, they clone, like you said, a clone onto some other rootstock, basically, because it just takes too long to go through apple seeds.
Yeah.
Take 15, 20 years to mature an apple tree. Well, even still, there used to be 17,000 varieties, and there are people that go around the country basically trying to save these varietals. And I guess probably take clones of the trees and stuff and then graft them to other things. Makes you really interested because I don't know if there's even 17,000 cannabis varieties. There's a lot, but is there actually 17,000? I'm not really sure. Maybe there isn't. But how many fucking apples? 17,000 apples. Anyway, there's only like
when I
apparently
was a
6,000 preserved right now, but they hope to get more of them again. What's that?
so when I was a kid, well, most of my life I lived in Washington State, just like Apple State. I
Hmm.
remember when I was a kid, I was probably like 10 years old or something. And I was talking to, I was like, I don't know, we used to always go get apple cider at this particular farm when we and my mom. And I was talking to the farmer when I was a little kid. I remember him telling me, I didn't even understand it at the time because I didn't know what phenos were, but I think he said genotype. He said like every apple is like genetically different, like from the seeds. Like you can have Granny Smith apple or whatever, but every one of the seeds in there is it's not just. I think he said the genetic genotype was different, or maybe it was the phenotype. But he
Hmm.
said every one of them was different. Like there's no two. That's why they have to clone it because the chances of them finding a Granny Smith within a Granny Smith seed is like nearly impossible.
Hmm.
Right. So it might even be more than 17,000 if that's true.
There's probably quite a few. I know our local nursery down where I live at, they have all kinds of unique. I mean, this whole area actually, we have an heirloom festival here, and it's all about all kinds of unique produce and stuff. Weeds of antiquity, and I have several of my apple trees are from the 1800s. I have out here. They have the russeted ones are good for ciders. I mean, we have winter banana apples. I got wet apples from like West Virginia. I mean, they have lots of cool stuff. People are preserving. I mean, it's accessible. I can't imagine how many people actually have started the apple in their backyard and didn't realize, it's a whatever apple. It started in 1970s in their backyard growing. Their parents, oh, that's a Granny Smith in my backyard. But they actually started it from seed somewhere. 17,000 people that started stuff and they have their own unique variety growing in their backyard. They don't even know it's their own unique variety. They started as like a school project or something, popping seeds and they put it in the backyard and grow it. And the whole countryside is probably covered with apples that no one even knows are unique.
That reminds
A
me.
lot of the wild ones. Good. Good.
Go ahead, Flora.
I was just gonna say a lot of those wild apples that would get like sea along the roads and in people's yards. They're
Yeah.
pretty bitter. They're not really apples you want to
Apples.
like. My mom would make apple pie with them when I was a kid, but like you don't want to eat a lot of those. They're kind of gross.
Right.
And we call them crab apples.
Got me thinking, the capital of Kazakhstan, that's actually where apples come from, is from Kazakhstan, basically. The capital city is called Almaty, and it's apparently, what do they call it, disputed. But anyway, I've always heard that what the name was full of apples. Anyway, the etymology, according to Wikipedia, says the name Almaty has its roots in the medieval settlement Almatau that existed near the present-day city. A disputed theory holds that the name is derived from the Kazakh word for apple, alma, and is often translated as full of apples. Originally, it was Almatau, which means apple mountain. There's a great, or no, Alpa, that's what it is. My fucking Cyrillic is terrible. There's a great genetic diversity among the wild apples in the region surrounding Almaty. The region west of Tian Shan Mountains is thought to be the apple's ancestral home. The wild Malus sieverisi is considered a likely candidate for the ancestor of the modern domestic apple. That's kind of funny. Cannabis comes from, well, it's a couple 3,000 miles away, but still, it's not that far, honestly. It's all the way across the world. And Kazakhstan and sort of the eastern Chinese mountains are actually quite close to each other. So it's kind of interesting. Anyway. Funny connection.
How the hell did Washington become the Apple state if that's the Apple Kingdom? Some European brought the
well,
apple over to Washington.
just they grow well there. I mean, hazelnuts are not from Oregon, and we grow a fuckload of hazelnuts. That's just how it is. Napa Valley didn't invent wine, but it just grows well there, you know. So same thing with Humboldt. You know, Humboldt County wants to think they're the weed capital. They didn't invent weed or some shit. They would like to tell everybody they did, but they didn't. It just grows well there, you know.
Yeah, you work with what's given. You work with what you have. You have great climate for growing pot, and you grow good pot.
That's
It's probably a lot easier to grow pot in Humboldt than it is in Detroit, I would imagine. So,
That's
especially
like
outside.
anywhere 500 miles to the equator. Pretty much you're gonna grow good weed. Maybe even further.
I mean, that basically indirectly or directly, no, directly, I guess, has to do with why I always say, or why I often say, that you should pay attention to the timing of your daylight night cycles. So, for example, most people just default to 12/12, and a lot of cannabis will flip. It will flower at 12/12, but a lot of cannabis is sort of indigenous, or a lot of cannabis was bred evolved in areas where there was only really 10 hours of daylight most of the season. Or sometimes the really tropical stuff, it was like 12 and a half hours sometimes. I don't know if there's 12 and a half, but anyway, 12 hours. Long story short, there's even just that little bit of difference can make a big difference way the plants grow. You know, you just pay attention to the breeding and stuff, and it seems to help a lot. Sometimes it does fuck all, but what's the chat saying here? It might bounce here in a few minutes.
Hey,
Check
Joel,
out
do you
Jones and the
happen
Bros.
to have
What's that, Flora?
Joel? Do you happen to have or have worked with? Well, I guess I'm not. I can't. With Raspberry Kush.
I got raspberry Kush from Pat, I believe, from Here's at the Farm gave it to me. I grew it like twice. I never did anything with it. I didn't find it to be very potent at all. Had a
No, it's
pretty
not
decent
potent.
taste to it.
Flavor.
Had a decent taste to it, but that just wasn't my thing. It was just a squat indica type thing, which I really was going all towards sativa stuff. So I just kind of to the side with it.
Yeah, I had the same cut, but it's now lost. So
Yeah, I have had a lot of cuts that I didn't really care for, but I wish I had just because I've been asked about them. Like, yeah, I've yeah, I had that.
yeah.
What's a cut that you
I just, yeah, you can't keep trying to get sentimental, keep hanging on to stuff anymore. Strains. It's just it turns to a pain in the butt where I'm just hanging on to a strain just because it's sentimental for a reason. I don't really grow it much.
Mm.
I don't use it much for breeding. It's I had this one Afghan. It's my daughter named it. She picked the save the clone out of the track heap. I mean, it's got like a 7-to-1 CBD ratio. It's not very potent. Tastes okay. I mean, it grows really well outside. It's really vigorous. It's a pure Afghan, but I don't like the way it tastes to smoke myself. My wife kind of likes it somewhat for pain, for menstrual cramps and all, but she doesn't really smoke it that much. It's just I've hung on to. I've grown it like once every 3 years for the past like 15 years, just because my daughter named it.
Hmm.
Kind of thing. That I mean, I could do without it and find something better replacement for sure. It's just it's sentimental, so you hang on to it.
Sometimes I feel like that's an important part of the cannabis. Like you have to just be kind of connected to the different plants because you have to keep them around for a long time. So if you're not really connected to it at all, if it's just, I don't know, some particularly interesting phenotype, sometimes that's not enough reason to keep it around. You know, you have to actually have some kind of a connection to it. It's kind of a funny thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my daughter sitting there playing with it. It was like a tree. She had it playing in a bunch of dirt and roly poly. She's like, "This is a plant. This pole calls from Violet." I'm like, "All right, that's an Afghan. We can call it Violet." And then from it's been called Violet for like 15 years now, and there's no way I'm getting rid of it.
Well, that's as good a reason as any, honestly.
She still reminds me of it. That's the plant I named right there. I'm like, "Yeah, that's the one you named."
She'll be so mad if you ever.
I think
Like,
total like total cannabinoid content is only like 12%. It's not strong, but
oh,
it's got some quality to it, but it's still not what I normally wouldn't keep it.
Jack's still talking about these freaking wait, do you have root aphids or what do you have, Jack? He's had aphids, I think. Uh he's talking about he's in pots too. All the openings need to be sealed while treating them. Sticky traps get the last of the flyers. Works well for me. Usually one treatment. Anyway, I guess not this solved. What was I gonna say? Not much. Oh, did we just lose a North Star?
Oh,
His internet is like as bad as mine.
What can you do?
if
He
you
might be
comp,
back if we don't.
We'll see.
I don't even think it is Comcast. I think he has something. I don't know what he has.
Cox.
I don't have Comcast. I'm Verizon.
I'm honestly surprised some of these cable companies don't just start taunting us in their bill. Like Cox Cable could come back and just say "suck my Cox" on the package. What are you gonna do?
That was Comcastic, wasn't it, bitch?
That's it. Almighty. Well, now I want to know if that actually isn't okay. It probably is. Wait.
What the strain he was talking about?
P. Fuck, I can't. I'm very bad. I read like a baby when I read Cyrillic. I'm like the kid from Happy Gilmore and Adam Sandler's like today, Junior.
eh,
That kid when I read in Russian. Anyway, what are some clones you guys have like Flora or North Star? What are some clones you guys really regret losing? Like all of us have lost some shit that we'd love to have back. Was it that animal cookies for you, Flora, or something else?
For me, well, top three would probably be the animal cookies. Um, that's definitely like the top for sure. I had a Royal Kush 7. I might be able to get that again though, because Ben has that still, so I might be able to get it from him. And then UW, the UW Perps. Those would be like three for me. Which the UW Perps like isn't even all that potent, maybe 14% or something like that. But it's like nostalgic because I grew up with smoking it. It's like the first weed I ever smoked. It was you saw always go get UW Perps. I live in Seattle, so it's like that was like a local folklore with that strain that it supposedly was bred by the University of Washington, which may or may not be true. And then there was like one of the like agriculture students like firebombed the school, and then this plant got stolen, and it got out, and it was on the streets. Like it was the first purple, like indica, like super good, but it's not that strong by today's standards. But I had that thing up until 2013. I had a clone of it. Lost,
That sucks.
but it might be coming back because somebody we mutually know has it. So
I could swear that maybe I didn't see it. I could they definitely had that Obama Kush, but I could swear that maybe Archive had that UW.
Hmm.
Maybe not. I don't remember honestly now. Maybe because they've had a bunch of different stuff. Um Shit, I could swear I saw it on their website one time at least. Anyway, I'll have to keep my eyes peeled if they have it again. North Star's doing his. Oh, that's a cool calabash. Love it. That's a glass calabash, like a
What?
glass cash. That's nice.
Sherlock.
yeah, beat you
Cool.
to it.
looks like it's got a big bowl.
Have you guys ever smoked out of a real calabash? These are so good. Let me see if I can find one.
It's not really this dirty. It's actually amber glass too, so it's already looks dirty to begin with.
What's your three that you wish you had?
Jeff, you
Oh,
Well, Joel's he's
whew,
choking
for me, if
that
I'm
was a
always that
rip there.
platinum platinum Yeti that I talked about. Like I found that one plant. I could have started a seed empire on that one fucking plant. And I feel so stupid that I lost it. I just lost it basically out of stupidity. I thought clones of both it and its sister, and I had selected them out of not, I guess in retrospect, that many seeds. But it took me a while at the time to get it. I think it was out of maybe 40 seeds or something. And at the time, I was only growing a little 4x4 tent. So it took me a while to find them. And the first couple batches were all dudes and everything else. Anyway, it was such a nice plant. These are calabashes, by the way. These are wood. So a lot of okay, this one, well, no, that's not traditional. This one is a traditional calabash. The bowl will be meerschaum, which is basically, they do have it in South Africa. So actually, that's the origins of the calabash is from South Africa, but the best meerschaum is from Turkey, basically exclusively from Turkey. The South African calabash, or I'm sorry, meerschaum is more porous, which is okay, but not really that great for smoking with. Anyway, and the bottom part, people usually assume it's wood or something, but it's actually a gourd. It's a hollowed out gourd that grows in South Africa and what else? I think even in so I can't think of the what fuck I can't think of the little municipalities that are in South Africa. I think that's actually where they grow the gourds. Those little mini countries in Swaziland. I can't think of the name of the countries. Anyway, these fucking calabashes end up being like $300-400, honestly. That's the Sherlock Holmes pipe, right? And it always cracked me up because calabash is like the least portable pipe you could imagine, but Sherlock always had it in his jacket. He'd pull out the
I really want the Lee Van Cleef pipe from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I gotta have that pipe. I still want that one. It's on
Yeah.
my list. Maybe this year for Christmas I'll get one.
What was it? Wait, he had a couple different ones. Hold on. Pipe from because when you look up Lee Van Cleef pipe, there's actually a bunch of them. There's the deluxe Lee Van Cleef Meerschaum. I think he smoked one of these, but I think he had a wood one too. Is that the one you're talking about? This one or the wood one?
I like that. I like that there.
This one right here. So that's
Yeah.
a meerschaum pipe basically that's actually been pre-colored basically. So when you smoke them, so for example, I have a couple meerschaum pipes. I guess I can show you this one. When you
That's easy.
start, they're white. So like this bowl, this is I guess I can stop
Big
sharing it.
white owl.
That's it. This bowl is basically, I mean, I've smoked out of it. I mean, I smoke tobacco, like pipe tobacco. I don't smoke weed because the weed resins would build up way too fast. But basically, this is relatively new. You can already see some color coming through. I guess it doesn't really show very well, but it's basically white, right? Like it's more or less white. And meerschaum is like off-white essentially, and then they coat it with beeswax. Traditionally, they coat it with beeswax. You can see a little bit of a mottled pattern in this, and that's actually desirable in meerschaum where it has these cool kind of patterns. It's basically sea foam. Like the word Meerschaum means sea foam in German, and that's essentially what it is. It's fossilized sea foam from a few 100,000 years ago, basically
Oh,
deposited
wow.
bottom of I guess probably before the Mediterranean Sea. Anyway, I've had this pipe for a long time and smoked it for quite a few times, and that's as much color as coming through. And then little by little by little, it'll get browner and browner and browner, and actually also a little bit harder. It's quite soft, especially when you smoke it. It's quite soft. And then as you add some of those kind of tobacco tars into it, it gets a little bit harder. Anyway, it's kind of a cool material. It wouldn't work really very well for weed. It would work really well for weed. The problem is weed has such like aggressive resins that you would basically kind of poison the pipe within 2 or 3 weeks probably. It would smell like fucking rancid resin. Whereas with tobacco, you can actually most tobacco pipes you're supposed to smoke at most like once a day, like a briar pipe, like a wood pipe, like an actual wood pipe. You smoke once a day at most because you want it to rest and dry out and stuff. Meerschaum is so porous, it's kind of like chalk. You can smoke it all day long. And sometimes people to color them will literally just smoke them all day long, like just over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
It's a fun thing that a lot of people don't really know about. It's just total little subculture. Anyway. Well, shit. We actually ended up having a decent show.
Yeah, it's sort of a rarity, right? To find other people that smoke those things, or is it common where you're at?
No, pipes are
Always
generally pretty rare. Yeah. I don't ever see one, somebody walking down the street smoking a pipe, basically never, which is funny because, 50, 60 years ago, you would have seen that all the time, like literally all the freaking time. Um,
Yeah.
cool advertisements from like Dunhill pipes or was it Ashton pipes? Super retro now. It's from like the 1920s, but it was like shrewd judges smoke Ashton pipes. And it's just this picture of a British judge or an English judge with the white wig over his head and everything. He's just smoking his pipe. Remember back then, people smoked in courtrooms, they smoked at the bank, they smoked at schools, they smoked everywhere on an airplane. So back then, it was pretty common to see people smoking pipes. But yeah, not anymore.
Back in the school days.
That's it. Ironically, pipe smoking is one of the only forms of tobacco use that is not basically seen as unhealthy. It's kind of actually very interesting because most pipe smokers smoke lightly. They don't smoke throughout the day. They smoke one or two bowls, maybe a day, sometimes a couple of bowls a week. They only really sip the tobacco, kind of like a cigar smoker only really sips the tobacco. Anyway, it's a very de-stressing kind of behavior. Very interesting. It's a very interesting subculture. Anyway.
That was an interesting story for you about pipes. We went to Amsterdam in 2005. We had a little pipe filter things, and the first day we were there, well, I needed to find some cheap pipes I could use for the public could test out the device at the cannabis cup. Basically, I had a booth there, so my wife and I, we right by our hotel was a store, and outside I had a picture of a pipe. I'm like, oh, it's a pipe shop. Let's go grab some pipes. There was no glass pipes in the place.
Hmm.
It was I'm there. Amsterdam's going to have all glass pipes, right? Well, no,
Hmm.
it's not a glass pipe. It's also an actual pipe shop.
Hmm.
All it was really nice, fine pipes, and I wasn't going to spend hundreds of dollars on a pipe. I just wanted a quick $20. I brought a couple of pipes
Yeah,
of my own, but I didn't want to share them with everyone because they're going to get broken. And I'm like, I need to find some cheap imported crap glass everyone can smoke off of.
that's right.
And no, it was a legitimate pipe shop. Never been in one before. Never seen one in the States before. It was a whole entire pipe tobaccos and then all kinds of fancy pipes.
Mhm.
Pretty cool place.
Yeah, they're really rare, honestly. Like the city of Los Angeles only has a couple of pipe stores or pipe shops. Seattle has like two. That little bowl basically that I got are these guys. They're a really weird anomaly. They obviously go on a pipe. They're from one of the only pipe stores in Seattle area. It's this old pipe company called Kirsten, and old man Kirsten has passed away probably 20 years ago now. But his kids, I guess, they used to have two or three stores. Now they only have the one store, and they make some of these pipes. And they're literally one of the, I think, two or three pipe stores in the entire city of Seattle that has what? How many million people are in Seattle, Flora? Like it's at least a couple million, right?
a lot, but they have pipe stores. It's just not that type of pipe stores. Most of
That's
the
it. Yeah,
pipe
like
stores
for
are
like a
weed pipe
pipe
stores.
Yeah.
tobacco, like a tobacco pipe. Yeah, you
Lots
can't.
of pipe stores
City of
though.
Portland
It's
is
just not
weird
that
because
kind.
City of Portland is
Yeah.
really unique. We have like four stores, one like big one, which is Rich's Cigar Store, but they have a lot of pipes. And then what, 82nd Pipe, Cascade Pipe. There's literally 4 or 5 stores. Very rare, but I guess because it rains all year, maybe people sit at home and smoke pipes in Portland or something. But yeah, it's
I
very
mean, it
rare.
rains all year. It rains all year, but the culture for weed there is, I thought it was the same as Portland. It's like it's really heavy, right? People, I don't know. I just don't see very people smoking tobacco. Like when they made that law that you had to like be 25 feet from the public building and you can't smoke inside all these places, like I think that's what killed smoking. Like before
Oh, for
that,
sure.
I,
Yeah,
I
no, I would agree. Yeah, I would
because
very
before
much.
that, I used to see people smoking pipes every once in a while,
Mm.
but like, who wants to like stand in 40-degree rain and smoke a cigarette, while you're trying to get it while you're at the bar, right? Like,
That's a good point. When the people want the nicotine, because you don't really get that much nicotine from the pipe. You could, I guess, because you could still inhale if you wanted to and stuff. But most of the time with the pipe, you just kind of sip the tobacco and then blow it out, right? Like a cigar. Um, fuck was I trying to say? If you wanted a nicotine fix, you totally could inhale that pipe. But I mean, if you load a pipe, it takes 30, 40 minutes to smoke it. Who has 30, 40 minutes to stand there and smoke in the rain, like you say. So probably people were just a cigarette and, going on with their lives. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of amusing. Or these days, people just vape, right? It's weird how much things have changed. Whereas, for example, when I was over in Israel or basically anywhere overseas these days, you still see so many people smoking, and it's very interesting because we have kind of lost that entire part of our culture where I mean, there's still plenty of people that smoke, but it's so much less part of our lives. You know, we don't have smoke everywhere. You don't smell smoke. You don't see cigarette butts everywhere. Whereas if you go, for example, to Israel, fucking everybody smokes. I mean, literally everybody. The grandmothers, the grandfathers, everybody smokes there. It's really bizarre. Like, you know, it's like it was in the 1970s or something. It's kind of unusual. Anyway, well, it's been an interesting discussion, gentlemen. What do you think? Shall we wrap it up, wrap a
Yeah,
bow in it? What's that, Flora?
it's up to you. I mean,
We can keep it
we're
going.
all communicating right now.
Conversation, but
Some of the shows at night, like, I'm really like digging deep into my mind. Like, what can I say?
well, then we'll keep it short and sweet. We'll save it. What do you think, D? Are we doing another takeover this week, this Saturday?
Yeah.
Right on. I'm starting to think I will probably do what I was talking about. I think I'm going to try to keep some of these live shows on maybe this channel, and then on the bigger channel, I'm going to try to refocus on, like I said, hopefully it's going to take me a few weeks probably to get here because I still have to go back to California and stuff. But I'm hoping to try to do more recorded interviews. Hopefully one of these days I'll be able to go down and talk to North Star. Maybe when I'm down in LA, maybe we can get together, Flora, and we could have a sit down interview down there. That would be fantastic. It would be my
That'd be
dream,
cool.
honestly, to have a sit down interview. It sounds like a mob meeting or something. Let's have a sit down, bro. No, but we have a sit down and smoke a joint to talk about the weed that you're smoking, talk
Dude,
about
we should
things.
do that in Venice Beach. At Venice Beach. That way we have like the water in the background and it's just like a graffiti everywhere. It's iconic.
Fine with me. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Except for I know on Santa Monica, I don't know about on the beach, but in Santa Monica, you're actually we were just talking about smoking. You're not allowed to smoke anymore. You get like a $200 or $300 fine for smoking anywhere on Santa Monica boardwalk. Isn't that funny? Like how times have changed. It used to be you could
That's
smoke up and down the street, smoke cigars and whatever. I'm not saying it's a
Like,
bad
but
thing. Honestly, it's
you
probably
got to lay
I
on the
think
side of the street with a needle hanging out of your arm, there, maybe.
just
That's
I think they
fine.
have that.
just about
No, I
shit.
think it's like that in Venice, but it's not as enforced because they have a lot of riffraff and stuff there.
Fuck, one thing I haven't talked about yet because it just never really came up, but it was so weird for me. So I haven't been to LA for a few years. It's been not that long, but I guess it was long enough. I guess I missed the whole COVID and everything. I hadn't been down there. And I went down there and it was so eye-opening because candidly, Portland now seems a little bit like a zombie apocalypse downtown. Like the outsides, you know, southeast, the inner southeast, there's plenty of nice people and stuff.
Ah.
But the downtown area of Portland that used to be known as this really vibrant restaurant filled scene, you know, they called it the city that works and everything else. Now they've gotten a little bit better with the daylight camping and stuff, but for a while it was just up and down every single street was just camps of fentanyl addicts. And you don't know where if you can park like anywhere downtown. You're like, fuck, is my car going to get broken into for a matchbox? Or because it would get to the point like almost everyone I knew, first of all, anyone I knew that lived downtown, for sure their car broken into. Even if they had a garbage car, like one friend of mine had like a 20-year-old Chrysler minivan or some shit, like not a super desirable car. Someone broke in and broke the steering column trying to maybe steal it. I don't know, but basically it was probably like a $1,500 repair on a $1,500 car. So I mean, what are you gonna do then? You basically take the car to the river and throw it away. I don't know, junk the car, I guess. Called it cash for clunkers. Whatever she did, I have no idea. But Los Angeles, you think is going to be like that. You know, like in my memory as a kid, I remember, you know, going to visit my dad or something, and it was kind of dirty. You know, Hollywood Boulevard was dirty. There was lots and lots of drug deals. You know, people are taking pictures of, I don't know, Kevin Spacey's star or some shit. Probably not Kevin Spacey anymore. Kevin Bacon. They're taking pictures of his star, and someone's dealing drugs 3 feet away. I mean, it was a little bit rough. Whereas now, I don't know, they've got a new mayor and everything else. Maybe that's the difference. Uh, the streets were clean. Like seriously, the streets were basic. I mean, not spick and span. You're not going to eat off them, but they were clean. There wasn't a huge amount of homeless. It did not seem like a zombie apocalypse. I was like, what the fuck? That Los Angeles looks like nice compared to Portland. It used to be completely the opposite. That
Yeah.
Portland is nice compared to Los Angeles. How things can change. It's really interesting.
No, there's I mean,
It makes you
still
Yes,
those.
in a place like Portland. Pardon?
I mean, there's still you go down to like by Sixth Street Bridge and you go down to the Fashion District, and it's all
Oh,
real
I'm sure.
bad.
No, it's not like there was not homeless or something. That's not
Yeah,
what I'm saying. Los Angeles always has homeless people.
but in
Imagine
relativity, yeah, it's
downtown
much
under those
cleaner.
bridges and stuff.
Super cool to the homeless.
Yeah, it's
Pardon?
much cleaner than it used to be by far.
Portland, partly, I think, basically, not even partly, I think mostly because we basically legalized drugs, and now, ironically, we have re-illegalized them
So
again. It was such a bad rollout. They didn't do any treatment programs or anything. They just legalized everything in small quantities, and that didn't work out, honestly, as you can imagine. So we had just roving bands of freaking fentanyl addicts. They took over entire buildings. Like there was this one little, I guess you could call it a shopping mall, but it was like 8 stores. It was just like a building with, it was one of those like little Galleria plazas or something. And they took it over as like an open air fentanyl market. And the city
Nice.
kept boarding it up. And literally overnight, they'd break open the boards again and be vending fentanyl in again. Like, this is some shit that you hear of in some weird zombie apocalypse movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a movie kind of thing.
Ah,
No, they just literally
oh,
last night they just kicked out the DA, this guy Schmidt, who famously really didn't prosecute any minor offenses, didn't prosecute any drug offenses, and on and on and on. And I don't know, I guess we can call it an experiment that didn't seem to go very well. So it looks like he's on the way out, and we'll see what the future holds. Because, for example, he wouldn't prosecute shoplifting cases. Uh, there's good reason to doubt that REI moved out of downtown just because of shoplifting, but they did fucking get hit because REI, their biggest store, actually their most profitable store apparently in the country, moved out of Portland. Now they're on the outside of Portland. Well, one reason they gave was that I think now 2 years ago, the store got broken into on Black Friday. REI is famously closed on Black Fridays. Well, somebody broke into the store on a Black Friday and ransacked the store. Like they broke into the window with a car basically, and the whole front door was open. The police didn't come for like 6 hours, and they emptied the store. Like they completely emptied the store. All the different looters emptied the store. Can you imagine? I mean, like the insurance company was probably like, wait, you mean everything is gone? Like even the napkins? Apparently they even took like the fucking everything, the nuts and bolts and everything. And so REI was like, fuck this shit. Yeah, that's something else. Can you imagine?
yeah, that's fucked up. What
No,
about out like what about out where what's that fucking place called? It's not far from Portland, just south where Intel's at.
just to the west, I guess, Hillsboro.
West. Is it yeah, is that like is that all clean? No tents, no fentanyl, or is that even fucked up?
I haven't been to Hillsboro for a while, but yeah, but even honestly, when you go to okay, I guess everything you say has some qualifications these days. So for the most part, if you leave downtown, you're not going to see a lot of the daylight camping. You don't see the same zombie apocalypse and stuff. You still see some camping. So for example, on freeway overpasses or exits to big streets or whatever, a lot of times people will set up a little camp. But for the last maybe year or two, the police have actually been trying to kind of clamp down on those. Um, what was I going to try to say? Places like Hillsborough, I think, are their own municipality. I think they have treated things a lot there. It's kind of like Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills, ironically, though it's surrounded by Los Angeles, it had a really weird deal, honestly, to become its own city. They
Yeah,
famously kind of just bus all the homeless people, all the problematic people. They just take them somewhere
I
else and
guess.
drop them. And so in Beverly Hills, there's basically no undesirables because they don't care and they just remove them.
Oh,
Hillsborough, I don't know
pull
if
you over.
but
They'll
it's a
pull you
little.
over if you're in a normal car, you know.
Pardon?
They'll pull you over if you're in a normal car driving through there at night.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know.
What was I gonna say? Oh, oh shit, we just lost North Star.
not again.
Oh, he'll be
Oh,
right back.
right
He'll
on,
be fine.
Flora. That's
Exit,
cool.
proper exit.
What's that?
I said he'll be right back, so that way we can give everybody can say bye in the proper way. You know?
Nice.
But no,
Yeah.
you're right. Beverly Hills is a. I like. I don't know. I like driving around there. It's fun. I was like looking
I
at
don't
the
like the way
houses,
they do
man.
things.
It's
It's
so
a
like some of
hobby.
the stuff you see there. It's like it's so ungodly, unreal. Like, how do people even think of building this giant thing right there? Like, like quarter-acre lot. And you can barely put your body around it because like it's all one giant structure in some of them.
the houses all over LA are something else because they're just literally like right on top of each other. Up in the Hollywood Hills, for example, there's like the land is so valuable that you take advantage of every single square inch that you possibly can, and you would end up having literally houses on top of each other. It's really something else, and multi-million dollar houses too. It's really something else. You
Oh,
always
it
pardon?
shows you that houses can be built right on side of a mountain, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. And they'll put the
think
pylons in the ground and stuff. Yeah, it's really bizarre. It's not to say that all the construction is safe in LA because, for example, they famously have the 2+2s. They're not all two apartments over two garages, but they're kind of called 2+2s, where it's basically like a couple of old post-war apartments, literally directly over a couple of parking spaces, and they just have like holding up the building basically. And if there's an earthquake, it's just going to flop right down on the parking spaces and kill everyone that's inside. Super, super dangerous. LA is filled with those apartments, and people pay $2,500, three grand rent some places for those apartments that are literally death traps, like literal death traps. Goodness gracious. But yeah, some places are built with the house anchored into the ground 200 feet or whatever the shit. It's crazy. It's always something. It's really something else though when you literally see the houses stacked on top of each other. I just can't get over it. I could never get over it when I see that stuff. Anyway, well, gentlemen, maybe we'll say our good afternoons. We'll reconvene perhaps next week. It's been a good show. Thank you very much, North Star and Flora, for hopping on here. It's been delightful. Who wants to go first? Anybody? Go for it, Flora. You're waving.
I know it's the same bye, but
Oh,
I can take off first. That's fine. um, I'll see you guys on like Saturday, I guess.
no, we'll be here.
But yeah,
But
until
we'll
then,
be here. Yeah.
tough, tough. See you.
Cheers, cheers, Flora. Good to see you, buddy. North Star, go
See you,
for it.
Norris.
Yeah, I'm gonna take off. I gotta get back to the grind, get stuff done here, and it's a beautiful day out today, so I'll take advantage of it. Hope everyone has a good day. Thanks for having the show.
Welcome.
See you soon.
Cheers. Good to see you, North Star.
Later.
Go for it, buddy.
Thanks everybody for watching and tuning in. Thanks to everybody for coming and hanging out in the panel. And of course, as always, special thanks to Fumador for putting this stuff on. I know what a pain in the ass it is. Tune in to Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific, with the possibility of the pre-show at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on my channel, dzombie under 742 underscore 742. Now it's time to put down the phone and pick up the kitty litter thing, the kid scoop from cat poop.
Sounds
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
very professional and very polished there, D. Good to see you, my friend, as always. Finally, it was a good show. It was good to see North Star and Flora on here. Always a couple interesting guys to talk to. Jones N2Grow asks, are cigs cheaper in Israel? I didn't buy cigs, but I definitely bought cigars. I ended up buying a pack of rolling tobacco once, pipe tobacco once, although I don't think I rolled it up or something. I don't remember. Anyway, but no, the prices are actually much higher, surprisingly much higher. And yet, I guess the surprising part is that people still buy it. I've heard that a pack of cigarettes in Australia is like $47. People continue to buy them for those prices. It's really something else. In Israel, the salaries are, it depends on where you are in Israel, and of course, it depends on the field that you're in. But generally speaking, the salaries are something like 60% of American salaries, uh, sometimes less, depending on what you do. And yet, the prices for cigarettes were more, honestly. So in the US, I haven't bought a pack of cigarettes. I can't remember the last time, but I guess I've seen prices, for whatever Marlboro and stuff in the store, and I'll see like, I don't know, $6 or $7 or $8. It was like $10 in many places in Israel. So imagine making 60% less and paying 60% more, and yet people still do it. It's really something else. Kind of testimony to the power of nicotine addiction, I guess, honestly. I don't by talking about pipe tobacco, I hope I'm not encouraging people to smoke nicotine in I guess any form. I mean, I suppose I would encourage people to smoke pipes because I think it is relaxing, but any tobacco is fundamentally not that great for you. Honestly, let's be honest. It's nicotine is kind of a deadly poison in the right dosage, but the poison is in the dose is I guess what a lot of cigar smokers, for example, would tell you. I don't think there's anything wrong with a cigar every once in a while. I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with a pipe every once in a while. Dabby J says I had to testify once in BH court over an accident I witnessed. What's BH court? What's a BH court? Beverly Hills Court. God damn, that wouldn't be pleasant. Yeah, Beverly Hills Court is kind of like the Malibu police from, or Beverly Hills Police is kind of like the Malibu police from the Lebowski. Not very friendly. Not super friendly. You don't really want to get pulled over in Beverly Hills. Um, like you might catch a fucking baton in the back of the knee or something. They don't give a shit. Although the LAPD, in fairness, probably would do that too. Anyway, ladies and germs, we'll bounce here in a second. Don't forget, please, to visit fumidoro.com, ladies and gentlemen. We are still here. There's been many times when I thought we wouldn't, but we are still somehow miraculously here. So hopefully, I don't know, it's been a weird week, honestly, but I thought I was going to have to maybe unsettle my garden again. So hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully the garden is here. Hopefully I can finally launch the Jack the Ripper run. That's almost a year overdue now at this point. But whatever. Hopefully better late than never. We were talking about the Banana Jack and a few others. I'm excited about the Jack the Ripper crosses. Anyway, I know that male is lovely. I know the stuff that I've grown out from him has been spectacular. Gosh, I grew sadly only one female of the Coot Special female that I still have to the Jack the Ripper male. Or was it the other way around? No, it was the Jack the Ripper female to the Coot Special male. It was exactly the other way around. Oh, it came out spectacular. I need to grow some more seeds of that. I don't think I have a ton of seeds of that, so I got to be careful. Probably can't send it out as a tester, but I might honestly run that as a future male or something because it was fucking spectacular. Um, like really like a mushroom cap. Like colors were super vibrant. Like I was just laughing just out of stupid. I was listening to music in the car and having a fucking great time. Like it was a-okay. So I need to plant a few more of those. Anyway, if you guys, of course, would like some recommendations of what to pick, perhaps on my website, certainly the newer stuff I think is better. I really should have arranged the website in terms of menus like North Star, and one of these days when I get a chance, I will be completely revamping the menu. Probably pulling some of the oldest lines off or making them basically kind of just asterisks, basically like in memoriam, because I don't want to send out super old seeds anymore. But definitely the um, Coot Special crosses, the sort of version 3, whatever. Yeah, I really labeled things badly. I need to relabel them as menus, basically. Black Prince Ruby father, Coot Special father, now Jack the Ripper father, et cetera, et cetera. That would be, I think, a lot easier for people to navigate. So anyway, if you guys have any problems navigating those things, please let me know. I would very much recommend either the Black Prince Ruby or Coot Special fathers. The Coot Special father, those lines have really ended up, I think people have been paranoid that there'll be 80-day, 100-day, 120-day crosses. Certainly, if you had listened to Coot over the years, it seemed like he thought it was manly to go, super long. I don't understand why going 160 days on weed would be somehow better, but whatever. According to him, that was. Thankfully, I can report that the Coot Special crosses that I've grown a few of, they don't seem to be 75-day crosses even. They seem to be done in about 70, 72 days. Kind of funny because really that last 10 days seems to make a big difference on some of them. The surf grape that I grew, it really made a huge difference, honestly, from basically day like 58 when I was already thinking about cutting it down to day about 71. Added so much fullness and structure and everything else. Perhaps that one could have gone a few more days, but it was done, honestly. So anyway, Coot Special crosses, about 70 days, highly recommended. Some of them have a great high. I think you guys should take a look because probably most of the genetics you've been getting have a lot of the same highs without criticizing any breeders. A lot of them breed kind of the same stuff. If you guys want something different, try one of these Coot Special crosses. I really recommend them. Yeah, good genetics, Stabby. What can I tell you? I wish we didn't have this weird animosity with Coot. I still to this day have no idea how that shit happened, but it did. So it is what it is. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we will bounce
What
out
was
of
that coupon code?
what's that, D? Oh, that's right. If you'd like to save a little bit of cash, ladies and gentlemen, use the coupon code BRAINS if you'd like to know how it's pronounced.
Brain.
case you wanted to know. BRAINZ for I think it's 14% off, a little bit of a loyalty discount, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to take advantage. Don't forget, of course, we have merch available as well. Technically, I wasn't around much, so I didn't advertise them at all. Technically, I was selling the Gage Green stuff, but honestly, I haven't been around enough, so I haven't been marketing that stuff. But ladies and gentlemen, do take a look at merch and, of course, some of my seed lines. And, of course, hopefully we'll see you soon. Hope something wonderful, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be here on Saturday with the takeover. Don't forget to check out Dee's channel for pre-shows, post-shows, other shows, you name it. Like I said, puff something wonderful. Be kind, be decent, be gentle. Don't be fucking pricks, dicks, or lunatics, ladies and gentlemen. And until we meet again, thanks very much, Jason, Jack, Dabby, J5. Couch is in the house. Didn't see you earlier. Couch. CTC's in the house. Who's hanging here with us? Dead Fish Fan. Jones. I didn't think I said your name there. Midwest is still hanging with us. Gosh, all the favorites here. And of course, if I didn't say your name, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully I will shout you out. Next time, Pot Snob is puffing with us. Good to see you, Pot Snob. Until next time, ladies and germs, thanks very much for hanging. Later, Gators. Later, D. Later,